So, yeah, there we go. All right, we are recording. So welcome to Training Tuesdays with myself, Rob Hawkes.
And my name's Chris Blackburn.
And today we are still self-isolating, and I am still working from the ISR offices. For those of you who might be writing in to complain, I cycle in, I don't see anyone, I use my elbows to touch the lift, and I'm washing my hands 50 times a day. So there you go. What about yourself, Chris? What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm playing by the rules. No, I'm at home, self-isolating. Wish I was in with the team, obviously, but, you know, staying positive and just making sure that we can do everything to keep being proactive and making sure we're helping people along the way. So it's been a very, very productive day, actually. A couple more people have joined our family, our ISR Academy as well. So it's still showing that there's people out there that obviously are looking for resources and you know, sort of help through this too. So generally feel very grateful to still have an ability to do this and still work. So yeah, obviously we send our thoughts out to anybody unfortunately affected heavily. I think everybody obviously can be. So yeah, staying very positive, Bobby.
Yeah, that's good, mate. Yeah, I think that's a good thing to say. I think you know, being very fortunate that we still have jobs. I don't think there's any two ways about it. So, getting to do this is a privilege. So, so what are we covering today? We are covering social verification. Don't forget, for those of you who are watching later on Facebook, you know, to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We do watch it back on, or its ability to be able to watch back on YouTube as well. Mm-hmm. So you can watch it back as many times as you like if you're not inside our academy. But what we're going to do is we're going to look at what it is, how to use it, why and when. Chris, as always, I'm going to get you to define what social verification is according to a dictionary.
I'm all myself. Before we get into that, I'd like to do something just very different, Rob. I know you wasn't obviously expecting any of this kind of thing as well, but for me, what my big thing again is about help. How can we help people as well? So instead of putting in your industry and things like that we always look for on a weekly basis, just in the comment section with obviously the people in there today, and obviously with the current climate that's happening, what's one positive thing that you've done or implemented personally or professionally that may even lend a little bit of advice for somebody else inside this here today? So what's one thing that you've implemented positively, personally or professionally? Rob, you could even chuck something in there as well. That may be able to just give some sort of help. You know, we can't be naive to what's going on. Let's be honest. Let's call the white elephant in the room. We can obviously see the streets and everything like that as well. So let's have a think about, you know, how we pull together. I know that's different to social verification, Rob. I just feel like it's very, very important to give advice where taken, myself included. There could be some nuggets of gold in here that people are doing that I need to put in as well.
Yeah. So yeah, I put speaking to my family as much as possible. So you know, when you're isolated or when you're not doing your usual things, then that's all part of the sort of makeup, the physical, biological makeup of how we feel. So talking to loved ones and friends and family is what I've been doing. I've been doing it, trying to do it more than I normally would. So that's something that I've been doing. But anyone else want to share what they've been doing? Either Nathan or the other Aprils in there, Tracy, yeah, saying what Andy, welcome, mate. So we're just sort of writing in there what we're doing, trying to be positive, if anything inside of there. So is there anything that you've been doing that you want to share with others? Sign disinfectant schedule every 4 hours. Yeah, nice. Okay, that's good. Nathan,
yeah, good on you, Nathan. That's awesome.
Helping elderly neighbours, make sure they're all good. Calling family. That's awesome. Really good. I like that.
I've been doing the same inside the business. I've been calling every single day since we've been working external. I've spoke to every single staff member every day. I've had that as a conscious thing around, just touching base, just making sure that they're okay, because obviously it's a bit of a different situation. So if you work with a group of people or people in different states, maybe just a quick call to say, you know, hey, how you doing? That's again personalization that we obviously touched on a few weeks ago. That's inside the academy, but you know, there's many ways that you can still obviously reach out to people too.
Like it. It's good.
connection. Awesome. But to actually answer your question, Rob, if I'm able to do that now. So obviously the today we're covering social verification. So the process of establishing the truth, accuracy, validity of something is what the dictionary defines it as. Here at ISR and through SWISH, we find it really like a tool that influences the decision-making process just by showing that the general public has also been through the same process before. So as society, we obviously develop trends, we follow, the social norm as well. So looking to use that within the methodology is really a process of assisting your customer to understand why other people have purchased your products, services, goods, whatever you sort of offer as well. But more importantly, how they're actually benefit from making that decision too. So we spoke a lot about third and first party stories a few weeks ago as well. So it will all, tie into that as well. But social verification, again, is used in third party stories, from my opinion, in a sales perspective as well. Just making sure that you can paint the picture of what somebody else has already gone through as well.
So maybe just if you guys are writing things down, to sort of what Chris said there about basically verification is the establishing truth, accuracy or validity of something. So the truth, the accuracy, the validity of something. So prior to jumping on April there, I was talking about, speaking to people in the know. I think there's a lot of sort of media around, fake news. So it's important that we kind of adhere to social verification to a point, but also making our own judgments on what's going on. If we're talking about what's happening in the world at the moment, it can be good and bad. What people are saying about something can lead to panic, or it can lead to it can lead to people doing something which maybe they shouldn't be doing. So I think social verification is a good thing, but I think it's also can be used negatively as well. So we just got to be mindful of that when we're talking about third party stories or whatever. That makes sense. And I think from a a media sense, like it's well publicized in the UK at the moment. Big companies like McDonald's and Nando's, they're closing, and a lot of people can get freaked out by that. When large multinationals are closing their doors, it's like, oh, do they know something that we don't? But I suppose on the flip side of that, we've got to be positive in what we're putting out there. We've got to be that sort of beacon of light. We've got to be proactive, so that if, for example, people are thinking about doing some personal development and they jump onto the ISR Facebook page or the LinkedIn page, it's like, well, what are they saying? So that in itself is social verification, that other people might be commenting on that and talking about it in a positive light rather than the negative. So maybe you guys that are watching this and listening to afterwards, or watching on Facebook or whatever, think about what you're saying out there in the world, because people will go and look at it. They might not be commenting on it, but they're definitely seeing what it is exactly that you're saying. And that in itself is a verification. It's like you might say one thing, they then go and look at what you're saying on the socials, and actually it's the opposite of what you said on the phone. If Chris is saying, oh, I'm being positive, and then someone goes and checks his LinkedIn and it's all doom and gloom, well, that doesn't verify socially what he's been saying. So that's how I would sort of put that into context. I don't know.
Also, Rob, as well, something around, and you maybe even covered it in the rapport building session today, around breaking the mold. Do you believe that obviously there's a fine line between good and bad, with social verification? I guess give your opinion around that if you could. So breaking the mold and not having the normal process. We know that a lot of people are unfortunately in fear and things with what's going on, but do you believe that, like you said, there been a beacon of light that can break the mold and then bring more attraction to you?
Yeah. Like if you think about like the idea about social verification is like people follow trends. So things trend, like, you know, memes, Twitter, all that sort of stuff. So trending. So if positivity on your Facebook feed is trending, then just as a byproduct, it has a knock-on effect. So I think by not partaking in negativity, by not responding in a particular way, I think that lends itself towards having a more positive outcome. So yeah, I agree. Yeah, definitely.
So even in regards with things, I guess as practicals as well, something especially this time of life, looking at things like blogs, how to get people to endorse you on LinkedIn, sort of things like that will create a bit of a trend. So it gives that social verification for you as an individual as well. I think that's going to be a few practical things that people can go away to do tonight as well, and really have a think of how can you shed some positivity onto somebody today? How can you socially verify who you are, what you believe in, what you can do, and go and endorse them on LinkedIn or something. Give us gain, as what me and Rob's already covered as well. Jumping on a prospect's LinkedIn as an example, or even an existing client, and just saying you do a good job in this particular area. That's going to help their social verification, but as a natural byproduct, other people will see that you're doing that too. So maybe looking at blogs and educational points and Instagram stories and things like that. That may be just things to think about on how we can sort of implement that as well, if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, and also, like, that's just a nice thing to do. Like, if whatever happens in your businesses out there and the things that you guys are doing, like whatever happens, if that's the kind of person that you are anyway, and you're doing that, then I think it, like Chris said, it will come back. So which will be like sort of another one of the tools that we've spoken about, consistency. That'll be consistent with the type of person that you are. So when things do blow over, or however long that is, if you start to build these habits up of how you operate anyway, then it would definitely help. So I think that understanding about what you're doing differently to socially verify who you are as a person, I think is really powerful. So yeah,
you can conform to society, but I think another really big practical that really helps people in social verification for myself would be around influencers. So actually having influencers or people that can verify your product and service as well. He's very well known as an organization. We was very fortunate to obtain the backing of the Sharks and the investors and Steve, Andrew and Glenn. And for us as a business, it certainly wasn't just the cash injection for us. It was social verification that our training has worked for thousands of people as well, and have them go through our business for 6 months due diligence as well. And now we can utilize that for social verification as well. So if there's any influencers that can help promote your products and services online, health and well-being, real estate, and camper vans, anything that you've had that you may be able to get some sort of social influencers, people that have tens of thousands of followers to endorse what you do as well, that can also be incredibly powerful. So it's not always easy to obviously pluck on influencers, but if there's ways that you can start liking their stuff, commenting on what they offer, re-tagging them in your posts, and creating a bit of a line of communication, you never know who may endorse your products and services down the track too. So don't know your thoughts on that, Rob, but I believe that influencers can create massive social verification for what they do.
100%. Like if you think about an endorsement by a sporting person, I know that's not a lot of sports stars are out and about where, but let's just sort of think about, they will do at some point, having someone, think about Conor McGregor, when he endorsed High Smile, it went ballistic. It went through the roof. So I know our director Ryan reached out to a lot of sort of influencers and models for his wife's salon, Alicia and Jaya Hair and Beauty. So he reached out on Instagram and got a couple of people that have been on TV, in like The Bachelorette and that sort of thing, who then came and got their hair done at the salon. They didn't charge for the haircut, But for the 45 to minutes to maybe an hour and a half that they were inside of the salon, it provided huge amounts of social verification, like saying that, oh, okay, well, that person is inside that. I want to be there. We've got a young guy, Gus Morton. I'm not sure if Gus is on today, but Gus is creating his own clothing brand. And if he can get somebody of relative notoriety wearing what he's produced, that'll be huge for him. And, you know, there'll be people are still going to buy clothes, and they're still going to, want to look good, even though they're at home. So, I think that understanding that who can you reach out to that could be seen to be using it. One of our clients, Adam Rakowski of Mojo Down Under, he got Hugh Jackman, to I don't know whether the photo of him's posing, but it's like an underwear brand. But, it's like, people look at it and go, oh, is he really wearing it? But it still makes an impact. And I think that's all you need is like, what impact can you have? Like Chris said, when you've got endorsement of 3 hugely successful business and entrepreneurs, in the Andrew, Glenn, Steve from Shark Tank, it's massive because people just take notice of that. Wasn't the reason why we did it, but it certainly helps. So yeah,
when other people are doing it as well, your natural perception, well, is if they're doing it, then it'll work for me as well. So having that social verification can be incredibly powerful through as well. And I know that me and Rob are halfway through. I just want to kind of open this up now as well for everybody that's taken their precious time to come and join us as well. Any questions, anything that you want to know in regards with social verification? Even just open it up tonight, Bobby, if you're happy to do that. Is there any questions that's burning for businesses at the moment that we might be able to shed some light on just for at the minute?
So how to use PR, how to leverage public eye, any questions around kind of what we've spoken about.
And if you can't think instantly now, just pop it over to our email, admin@ISR, or even just pop it in the chat now. But if there's anything from our side of things that we can do to be a resource, please don't hesitate to reach us. We are being that beacon of light, as what Rob said. We want to be as positive as we possibly can through this process as well. I know it's a lot of conversation around a particular subject as well, but I'm sure Bobby's the same. Hand on heart, if there's anything that anybody needs, please pick up the phone and just give us a call as well. So
and also don't hold back as well in this time. Like, we're not stopping, we're not slowing down. It's about, we've always been and have been on a mission to change the perception of salespeople. That doesn't change. So, going a bit harder and a bit stronger and a bit faster at it. Ryan spoke about on Friday, about the growth mindset versus scarcity mindset. I spoke about it in the webinar earlier. And I think it's, I posted on LinkedIn a few days ago and said, there's 2 kinds of people. There's people that adapt and there's people that don't. And there is a reality that's hitting home for a lot of people now, that it's like, well, their reality might be unemployment, or it might be job seeking. But, and again, like Chris said, our thoughts go out to a lot of people that are in that situation, but there's always opportunity. It's down to the mindset of how you react in these sorts of situations. And and I'm hoping that there are people that will, sort of continue along those lines. And even if the worst did happen and you were to lose your job, or, it will get better. And hopefully, like Chris said, if there's anything that, people need or then we're here, we're here to help. But I appreciate it's a difficult time, but you've got to have a level of optimism. Otherwise, we'll all be pretty miserable very soon, So I understand what you're saying.
That's it. And April's just asked a question, Bobby. I think you'll be pertinent to sort of answer that. So I'll let you have a read through as well. But maybe just a quick why in the chat is if this is helping around social verification, giving you, obviously we can't give all the practical what's or the how-tos, but is this giving you ideas, thinking of how you can implement this in your business, in your industry, in your day-to-day sales process? Is there things that you can do online across the board?
So just for those who are going to be watching it later who can't read the chat, so the question was, how do you balance? Oh, no, it's not. So I was just about to read the second one. So April's question was, I'm surprised at how effective an endorsement from a high-profile person would be a key influencer even as a kid. I wasn't convinced. How do I see that differently? Yeah, it's a good question. For some people, a particular individual is going to be more beneficial than somebody else. So for someone who, like yourself, April, you're a big fan of Andrew Banks. For someone else, they might not care who that is. So it's about also, as we've always spoken about, understanding your target market based on who that person is. But also, you know, if you think about Ryan, our director, going on stage with Jordan Belfort a couple of weeks ago, a lot of people don't like the bloke. Not Ryan, Jordan, but it's still verified in the sense that people know who they are. Like, they know who that person is, and while they may not agree with that person, or they may not like their standpoint, they're still talking about them. And that's, I suppose, the you know, for yourself personally, you might not like that person, you may not believe in it, but other people will. And it's about, you know, like I said with Mojo Down Under and Hugh Jackman, like, you know, you might look at that and go, well, I don't really care who wears it. I'm only going to spend $6 on underwear. But for someone else, they might go, oh, okay, well, Hugh Jackman endorses it. All right, I might have a look. And there might be enough people that do that then it makes sense. So for them to buy. So I guess it's just down to the to the individual. And Chris, I don't know if you want to answer Mandy's question.
Yeah, so there's something that me and Mandy's been working on. So what I'm actually going to do is just give Mandy a really quick call, because I kind of get what she's saying, but I really want to make sure I'm answering the question as well. So I'll just do that offline. That's all good.
All right, okay. So I think in summary, the big thing for me, again, for people that are listening retrospectively, or the people that are watching it now, is that being in the public eye, being recent, being frequent, being out there, making sure that you've got content on the socials, making sure that you're talking to people, you know, all of that. Even Training Tuesdays itself is social verification. You know, Chris gets on the phone, talks to a client, they're uncertain around whether they want to move forwards. They remembered that he said something about a webinar that they do. They jump onto YouTube and they can see that he's a real person. You know, that's huge. You know, like that's the kind of you're just verifying firstly that they are a person. People that are now going to be selling predominantly over the phone or digitally, people still buy people. Mm-hmm. People's limiting beliefs and action thresholds are far higher than they've ever been before. People have got that scarcity mindset. Dollars means so much more now than ever before. So the more that we do, the more that we put out there, more than the other person, might mean the difference between getting a sale. And as I said this earlier, that can mean the difference between food on the table or not. So there are going to be people that are going really hard right now, that are hitting the phones harder, marketing more, because they don't know whether they're going to have a business tomorrow. And if that happened, but they held their hand up and said, I gave it my all in the lead up to it, and there was nothing else that I could have done. You know, I hit every social as hard as I could. That in itself is verification socially that person is, you know, is maybe the person to do business over somebody else.
Yeah, so I think another area, Bobby, too, is something around, obviously me and yourself are a part of a group, BNI. I think networking groups are massive as well, not just BNI, whether it's the chambers of commerce, whatever it is. I mean, if anybody's a B2B seller on here as well, I'd highly recommend tonight, go onto LinkedIn, have a look at the groups that are available that you can join, and just join 5 new networking groups and just offer some value into that. It'll generate social verification. It'll get more people knowing who you are, and it still gives an ability to, at the end of the day, make sales and revenue. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm not reaching out to clients willy-nilly on a scattergun approach. I'm very smart with, I wouldn't say very smart, I think that's been very opinionated, but trying to be smart with my approach. I'm trying to be very elegant with who I'm speaking to, getting a clear understanding of what they're looking for, joining the right group, speaking with the right people, having as many Zoom calls as I possibly can, and just thinking a little bit outside the box. We naturally, Rob, as I'm sure you can sort of verify as well, we speak with a lot of clients that this is not a normal way to communicate through people. Through a computer screen or through your phone isn't normality. But with the change of the world, we're getting forced into this position now. So as a business, we need to be very elegant with how we can portray the value of what this can do on a webinar, on a Zoom call, in networking groups. The way of the world is going more digitally now, whether we like it or not. It is a fact of life at the moment. So I think, how can we be proactive and join 5 to 10 new groups, find a group on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Facebook and things like that. So hopefully this is giving some thought ideas on how there's different ways to connect with new people and, build that social verification as well.
Just like what Andy said there, like in the chat, like this is new normal. What is normal anyway?
Definitely not us still.
No. But I think so. In summary, if you were going to summarize, we don't. I don't use this, and using that term of people like sheep in a derogatory fashion, but people will turn to their peers for guidance. That could be their friends, their family, their colleagues. It could be members of the public. It could be, they turn to others generally. So if people are turning to you, can you be the air of positivity, so that when they do turn for social verification of what should they do, people will, wear the same clothes, drive the same car, live in the same place, maybe not eat at the same restaurant, but they go to the same places, or they do the same thing, and holding other people in higher regard than themselves. And if that's the case, then what are we doing to contribute to that positive outcome? So, it's that whole saying of, keeping up with the Joneses, or in the modern day world, it's keeping up with the Kardashians. I don't know if I want to keep up with them, but it's keeping up with what other people are doing. So how can we establish that to what the new normal is, and make that feel like for people to make decisions based on what we're doing, whether that is to hire me for a job, whether that is to choose me over somebody else. So that for me is the biggest thing about social verification, and that kind of sort of wraps up our series on the tools of influence, right? We've been doing it for a few weeks. So what are we doing next week? Because we're going to summarize it, hey?
We are. So what we're going to do next week is we're going to do a longer session, and what we're actually going to cover is the 8 sessions that we've done over the last 8 weeks. We're going to compile it, due to the fact of a lot of things that we've spoken about even today, that social verification can lead into third-party stories, it can lead into personalization, it can lead into all different areas of influencing and aiding to increase sales and revenue as well. So what me and Rob decided to kind of, sort of finish off the last 8 weeks that we've been doing before we move on to a new subject and new area within sales and business, is to kind of compile the 8 sessions into one. So there will be, again, a lot of things that we've covered over the few weeks, but what we're going to do is tie that together and really give a clear picture on how all 8 tools can be used within one interaction or multiple interactions with a client to assist them to move forward with your products, services as well. So like I say, I think for us, and Robbie, you can obviously finish off as well if you've got anything to say, but from me personally, I just wish everyone well, stay safe. Remember to like, share and subscribe on Facebook and YouTube as well. Rob and I have covered this a few times. We're very grateful that we still have an ability to speak with some incredible people like what we do this evening. So we just want to thank you for the time that you put aside to listen to a couple of English blokes talk sales and business. So I from the bottom of my heart, appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I second that, and not from a plugging perspective or to want to make more sales, but genuinely, if you've got people in your world who are struggling with what's going on, and you feel like a little bit of dose of, come rain or shine, me and Chris will be delivering these sessions. So, so if you feel like you want to invite someone to come and watch it, even if they just want to be, feeling part of something. Which is, we want to all feel part of something. So, if you want to invite somebody in, then, not from a like I said, from a we want to sell perspective, but just from a come and join, and be part of it, then feel free to share this with people. But again, to second what Chris said, thank you for everyone for your time today. Be safe out there, and I said it at the end of the webinar inside of the Academy, but I'll say it again on here, is that for whatever our political stances are, I think we've got to back the people that are running this country, because they are who's running this country at the moment. So, we've got to listen to what they're telling us to do. And I don't want to get political, but I think we've got to sort of understand that they're making really tough decisions, decisions on that are affecting everybody. So thank you for your time today. Tune in next week on, like I say, for a big summary of the tools of influence. And on behalf of everybody, stay healthy and stay apart. See you guys soon. See ya, Chris.
See ya.